Good. The war must go on because we can't face the dreadful thought that Ukraine, as part of the peace deal, Ukraine may have to be partitioned. We don't, of course, talk about the Minsk agreement, which provided a pathway before the war to preserving Ukraine in its post-2014 borders. The Russians had only claimed Crimea up to that point. Let me repeat again. This entire war has arisen because Ukraine refused to grant autonomy to Donbass, as it agreed to do in the Minsk agreement and as it was required to do in a UN Security Council resolution. And the Western powers were not prepared to put pressure on Ukraine to carry through its international legal obligations, to fulfill the Minsk agreement and to act on that UN Security Council resolution. But you will never see anybody in the British media, at least the mainstream media here, ever point that out. But anyway, now people are talking about partition. The Guardian has to face the fact that that is a dreadful thought. It is looking at various alternatives, and it talks about a 1917 scenario in Russia. Why that would be a good thing, by the way, given how 1917 ended up for the West, I really don't know. But anyway, the Guardian seems to think that might be a preferable outcome. But of course, the alternative might be a total defeat for Ukraine, a total escalation leading to a direct NATO-Russia conflict in Europe, or the alternative is a stalemate leading to this dreadful outcome that we're speaking about. None of these prospects look at all attractive. And of course, we are here, let me reiterate again, because Plan A, or shall I say the expectation, that there would be a Russian implosion following the sanctions. The expectation that was rife at the time of the Munich Security Conference last year has simply not been realized. So they're now facing all of this difficult, very complex situation. They're left with all sorts of difficult prospects, and they don't know what to do. And you can see that also in the words of the Western leaders there. We've had Scholz, as I said, he's spent most of his time criticizing other European governments, other European leaders, for the fact that they're not delivering the tanks they promised, despite the fact that they put enormous pressure on him to supply Ukraine with tanks, which he didn't want to do. So he's now going around saying, well, look, you put all that pressure on me, and at the end of the day, you're not really up to doing it yourselves. We have Macron saying, we're not going to achieve regime change in Moscow. That was a disastrous and hopeless idea. I told you so. Something which, as I said, is going to make him even more unpopular with his European friends and the Americans. But there it is. That's what Macron is doing, even as he tries to ensure himself by stepping up arms deliveries to Ukraine and telling everybody that we must press on until some kind of mythical Ukrainian victory.